Really cool little mushroom today that is close to my heart. The beech mushroom, Hypsizygus tessulatus. So this is a cousin of the elm oyster, Hypsizygus ulmarius, which means you need to fully cook them, and they're cousins to your regular oyster mushroom. You can cook them in these cute little clusters. Just look at that thing, and you can use those to make my incredible Shimeji rolls. You need to try those things. Best thing I made with them so far, for sure. We're going to cover a little preparation, the shimeji rolls, marinated or a salad, and a little bit of mushroom kimchi. One of my favorite things about these is the second part of the Latin epithet tessulat, which means a not overlapping geometric pattern on the caps. Isn't that cool? These are also a budget mushroom, and that is why they're close to my heart. I used to rely on these to kind of help my mushroom food cost. Look at that. They're less than half the price of button mushrooms. And you can find these at Asian markets. They're going to have generally a pretty high turnover, especially where I live in the Twin Cities. So the mushrooms are usually, dependably fresh, more than you could see those button mushrooms were almost rotten in the package there. And that was at the same store. Now, when you get the mushrooms, they're going to come in these clusters. They're going to be really nice and clean, generally speaking. You can cut a little bit of the substrate off and you can cook them individually, or you can cook them into clusters. So you can just kind of pull them apart there, and then you can cook them like any other mushroom. But the best part are the little wiggly clusters like that. Those are my favorite. So to do that, all you're going to do, you may need to leave a little bit of the substrate on and just kind of pick them apart into little clusters that are pleasing to you. One thing to keep in mind is that for the preparation I'm going to show you here, which is wrapped in a thin slice of venison eye round and cooked in a hot and sour sauce, ridiculously delicious, you're going to want to make sure that the clusters are roughly, they can be bite size after they are cooked. That's going to be about 4 or 5 mushrooms. Some of these got a little bit large on me, but it's totally fine. For the meat, you want something that is nice and lean, but also tender. This could be, obviously tenderloin, but really any cut out of the leg except the sirloin tip out of a deer is going to be really good. So eye round is great. One trick is to freeze the meat, and you're going to get paper thin slices if you freeze it. So there's another venison eye round. The venison bottom round would work, or the same cuts from beef, or you could use pork tenderloin. Like, use whatever you want. But just look at how paper thin I can get those slices. Oh, I messed that one up a little bit. It's a lot easier to slice when it's frozen. Even if you don't freeze it, it's totally fine. Take your slices, and we'll give them a little pound of the meat mallet. That's optional. And then we're just going to wrap these up. This is so much fun. It's a great thing for kids to do, great for date night. It's easy. It's delicious. Yeah, they're elegant. I'm going to bring these to one of my friends' parties here in a couple weeks. Now, if you have some mushrooms that, if they fall apart, you can do like the enoki rolls, where it's kind of like a bouquet where they're coming out of both sides, and you can just make rolls where the mushrooms are coming out of both sides there. So if they fall apart. Now for the sauce, we just take a little bit of chicken stock, a little bit of rice wine vinegar, that's where the sour comes in, a little bit of soy sauce, dash of fish sauce, which is optional, and then some cornstarch. And for the spicy, use whatever you want. I have some chili paste here my mom got at the Mexican market that's like nuclear hot. You could use sriracha, chili flakes, whatever you want. Give that a little shake. I love these jars because I can just shake it up and it dissolves the cornstarch. Then to cook these, you get a nonstick pan, nice and hot. You could also use stainless steel. That'll give you really nice brown bits, and it'll actually make a better sauce. I actually shouldn't be cooking the vinegar sauce in this pan, but it works fine. Just rub it with oil afterward. Brown these. They're not going to fully cook when you're searing them, so we're going to put them on a tray, and we're going to put them back into the pan, and we're going to simmer them in the sauce to fully cook them, because you want to fully cook Hypsizygus mushrooms. I gave my grandma indigestion many years ago with them. I didn't know that. Kind of undercooked some. Take the mushroom rolls, put them in the sauce after you add a little garlic and ginger, and then we're just going to simmer them, and you can kind of baste them with the sauce as they cook. That's going to help some of the pieces of garlic and ginger get into the mushroom rolls, and this is how you're going to season them, because we didn't season them. A lot of recipes marinate the meat, and that means you're not going to be able to brown it, which means the pan sauce won't be that good because there's like sugar and stuff in the marinade, so basically they just burn the meat. and then you can't have a really nice pan sauce. So that's why I don't season them. I add a little bit of mung cilantro. You could add your favorite herbs here. Mint would be good, culantro would be good, and I added some ground prickly ash, which is definitely optional, but nice if you like that hot, numb mala flavor. Put them on a plate, put the sauce over it. Instead of sesame, I put a little bit of ground black walnuts, a little more mung cilantro. Many different ways you can do this, but look at that. Ooh, that looks so good. Oh yeah, I just love these. Okay, if you don't have meat you could slice like that, you could also use charcuterie. Keep in mind that's going to be a little bit more salty and you'll probably have to use a toothpick to get them to stick together, but once they brown, it's not a big deal. Now, if you want to just take the mushrooms and saute them up, that's good too, but a really important thing to keep in mind with these mushrooms and other mushrooms that are of a comparable size is that you can overcook them. So all you need to do is cook them until they're hot throughout and wilted and like lightly browned like that. You don't need to just, keep them going in a hot pan. You will dry them out and they'll kind of wilt. And that's not very fun at all. So don't overcook them. One of my other favorite things was these are kind of like chestnut mushrooms. So I made this salad earlier this year with fresh thyme and herbs, charred shallots, and a little balsamic vinegar. They were great like that. I'll put a link to that in the video description. Also, kimchi for the white version, or either version, they're interchangeable. They're really nice, marinated with a little bit of kimchi paste. And what you do is you're going to cook the mushrooms, just steam them or cook them quick in a pan with a splash of water. And then you're just going to mix them with kimchi paste. I have the recipe for this on my website. I make it with a bunch of different mushrooms. Really good with polypores. Mix them with the hot chili paste to taste. Put that into a jar. Leave it on the counter for like a day or 2 or 3. Doesn't need to be very sour. And that's a great spicy condiment for soups. I hope you enjoyed learning a little bit about beech mushrooms. A nice budget-friendly mushroom that I really enjoy cooking in the off-season, and I think everyone should know how to cook. Thanks for watching.